rectangular prism is a solid three-dimensional object that has 6 faces that are rectangles. If you unfold a rectangular prism, it will look like this. Notice the 6 rectangles. You can find the volume one of 2 ways. First, you can multiply length times width times height. Or if you know the area of the base, you can use base times height. Let's look at a couple examples of calculating the volume of a rectangular prism. Examples number 1. Erica has a cake pan which is 8 inches wide, 1 1/4 inches deep, and 2.5 inches long. What volume of cake batter will the pan hold? So in this particular example, the area is not given, so we're going to use length times width times height. So let's just plug in the answers. The numbers. So the width is 8, because it says it is 8 inches wide. It is 1 1/4 inches deep, so that will be the height, 1 1/4, and then it is 2.5 inches long. So now we have length, width, and height. So now in order to solve this, I'm going to go ahead and convert them to improper fractions. So I use the circle trick. I go 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. And then when the circle trick, the 2 goes back to its original spot. So it's going to be on the bottom. And then I'm going to place 8 over 1. And I'm going to do the same trick. 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 5/4. Okay? So now I just multiply straight across. 8 times 5 is 45. Okay, sorry about that. 5 times 8 is 40. And then 40 times 5 is 200. And that will be over 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. And 200 divided by 8 is 25. Okay, so we are not complete yet. It is inches cubed, because remember, volume is cubed. Okay, now let's work this second problem. It says Lauren knows the base of her rectangle jewelry box has an area of 80 square inches. She also knows the volume of her jewelry box is 960 cubic inches. What is the height? So in this particular example, we're going to try to find the height. And we know that the area is given, which is 80. And we know from our original, we know that volume is equal to base times height. So we can plug in the numbers we have and solve for the height. So we know that the area has a volume, the volume is 960 cubic inches. So I'll place 960 there is equal to the height. Now, I'll draw a line down here. Now all we need to do is get the height by itself. So I'll divide each side by 80. Okay, and 960 divided by 80 will equal our height. And so now what we'll do is I'll divide 960 by 80. 80 goes into 96 one times. That gives us 80. And that's 16. Bring down the 0. 80 goes into 160 two times. So our height will be 12. And the unit of measure is inches. Okay. I hope that helps with finding volume of a rectangular prism. Thanks for watching, and Moo Moo Math uploads a new math and science.
Okay, today we're going to be solving for surface area of a rectangular prism. Remember, a rectangular prism is a three-dimensional shape. A rectangular prism has 6 faces. And what I mean by a face is that this right here would be considered one face. And if I look, I have 1, 2, 3 faces looking at me. I then have 1, 2, 3 faces that are hidden, giving it a total of 6 faces. We will need to keep that in mind as we solve for surface area. Okay, let's start. Surface area. Surface area, by definition, is the area of 6 faces. Remember, area is just length times width. So we're going to be solving length times width for 6 faces. Now, if I look here, we're going to start with this face here. This face, I would say my length is 8 and my width is 9. So we're going to start by doing 8 times 9. And 8 times 9 is 72. So I now know that this face is 72. Okay? Next we're going to solve for this front face. Okay? The front face, the length is 5. We're going to times that by the width, but if you can see here, I don't have a measurement, but if I keep looking over, I can see that it lines up with 9. So I'm going to do 5 times 9, which is 45. Okay, now I know that this face is 45. Okay, the next face that I see is this top face. So now we're going to solve for the top face. Again, we're going to do length times width. Here, I don't have a measurement here, but if I keep looking down, I see it lines up with 5. So I'm going to do 5 times, again, I don't have a measurement here, but if I keep looking over, I see that it lines up with 8. So we're going to do 5 times 8, which is 40. Okay? So now I've solved for 3 faces, and 1, 2, 3, and I have the area of each. The next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to now add all of these together so I can get the total area of these 3 faces. So I'm going to add 72, 45, and 40, and I get 157. Now, I now know the area of these 3 faces, but I still have 6 that I need to solve, so I need to solve for 3 more. And if I look, I'm going to know that this one is equal to this side, this is going to be equal to the back side, and the top and the bottom are also going to be equal to each other. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to double those areas. So I'm going to do 157 times 2. And 157 times 2 equals 314. And that is my surface area. So I now know that the surface area of this rectangular prism is 314. It needs a label. I'm measuring in inches, so I'm going to do inches squared.